What's going on, everyone? You're back with your boy Jono for another quick math lesson. Today we're going to learn about one of the most significant theorems that you will learn in maths, and that's Pythagoras' theorem. You might have heard of this before, but it has stood the test of time because it's so intuitive and also so important to a lot of aspects of real life. So Pythagoras' theorem is all about right-angled triangles and what happens if you change one side length. We know that there's a relationship between the longest side of this triangle and the two other short sides, and Pythagoras was just able to put this relationship into numbers. So what I mean by this is if we look at a right angled triangle, we've got two short sides and we're going to label them A and B for this picture. The long side is that diagonal line and we're going to call that C. If I draw another triangle with exactly the same A length, so the bottom is really short still, but I make that B line really, really long, a much taller triangle, by making that B line bigger, I had to also make that C line way bigger, or the triangle wouldn't make sense. This works in the exact opposite way as well. If I have that A line exactly the same length as before, but I make a really short B, well, that C line, the diagonal, is way smaller than in the other two examples. So what we can see here is I changed the B in all of these questions, and that in turn changed the length of that diagonal line as well. So Pythagoras worked out this relationship, which does make a lot of sense, but then he put numbers to it. He described this relationship with a formula that we're going to learn today. Before we get into the formula, there's one really important thing that we need to learn just beforehand. We have to learn how to find the long side, which I know sounds pretty easy. It's the longest one. But sometimes your teacher is going to try to trick you on purpose by giving you a triangle that it's not very obvious, and we need to have a skill in order to get this every single time. Because we are mathematicians, we're not going to use the word long side anymore. We're going to use its proper mathematical name, which is the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is always found on the opposite side to the right angle. So the furthest part away from that right angle. So in this example here, it's all the way on that other side. So that's the hypotenuse. In this next one, it's on that other side. That's the hypotenuse. So it's obviously not a super difficult thing to do, but it's just a way to check that you do have the longest side before you get started. So this is the formula here. A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. And A and B are the two short sides. And C is going to be our hypotenuse. So what this formula is saying in words, if we've got our two short sides and we square both of them, plus them together, that's going to be the exact same number as our hypotenuse squared as well. We're going to see this in some examples, but this is 100% true. There's some really good video explanations on YouTube about why this is the case, and I would 100% recommend having a look at some of those more visual demonstrations. So here I've got a triangle with the side lengths of 3 and 4, the two short ones, and then the hypotenuse C. So the formula is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So all I've got to do is substitute in 3 and 4 to my short sides. So this becomes 3 squared plus 4 squared is equal to C squared. 3 squared plus 4 squared is 9 plus 16, which is equal to 25. Heaps of students stop here. You've got to make sure that this is what C squared is equal to. You always have to root your answer. So C is just equal to the square root of 25, which is equal to 5. Again, it's really important that you do square root your answer. It's the number one mistakes that my students make. So just have a guess first, see if the number fits in. Make sure it is something that could be right. 25 was way bigger than the 3 and 4, so we know that we weren't correct until we did the square root. So for this one, we've got 5 and 12 as our two short sides, and we want to have a guess first. So because it's the hypotenuse, the longest side, any guess from 13 and above is going to be a good guess. We know it's probably not going to be 1,000 or 100, so I would say any answer between 13 and 25 is a good number. If you get below 12, you've definitely done something wrong because it has to be the longest side. So I've got 5 squared plus 12 squared, the two short sides, is equal to C squared. That's 25 plus 144, which is equal to C squared still. These two numbers plus together is 169. Nice. And then we've got to square root our answer. So C is equal to 13. You just have to do that on the calculator. This fits in with our guess at the start, so we're pretty confident that we got this right. Now you can actually do this on your calculator without doing too much work, For this one, I've got 7 squared and 13 squared. All you have to do is in your calculator, write 7 squared plus 13 squared, then hit equals, and then all you've got to do is root answer. So this is why I say you have to root your answer, because you don't actually have to write anything down. 7 squared plus 13 squared equals root answer. This will give you the correct number, and all you've got to do to get the working out marks is write down exactly what you wrote into the calculator, and you'll get it right every single time. So for this one, the answer was 14.76, which makes sense because it's bigger than 13, and we know it has to be, so we know we probably got this right. Thanks so much for watching this lesson, guys, and I'll see you later.